Now, this point is quite interesting. They mention how Noah was able to preserve the animals brought onto the ark. And yes, a boat just made of wood wouldn't be able to sustain the animals without some sort of system or technology. Even more importantly, guidance and protection from God played a key role in how this ark was able to survive the Great Flood. To answer the question, we have to not only consider the technology that was used, but also how other ancient cultures' technology was like before the flood affected Earth. It wasn't until the last few centuries that mankind really started to evolve technologically. Why couldn't something similar happen to ancient people? From the time of Adam to just before the flood, 1,776 years have passed. Go take a look at Genesis chapter 4 and see how by the end of the chapter, they were already building cities. This main problem lies in the number 800 billion. Where did this number come from, first of all, and why was it made? How many fossils do we actually find in the Karoo Formation? Last time I checked, we found at max 30,000 fossils from this rock formation. It's more likely that this number is merely a guess. Notice the word suppose. Is this actually a number or is this just a claim? If it is a claim, how much marine fossils actually compromise the volume of the rock that we find? The claim that this would cover the entire planet seems more than likely an exaggeration rather than actual observation. As an example, I'm referring to the varves at the Green River Formation. I see what they're talking about. Varves are typically a yearly occurrence, but can these varves be seasonal varves or something else? This is where I throw in the towel and all I can say is I don't know. The Bible does tell us that Noah was instructed to bring pairs of clean and unclean animals. But what does that mean when God says unclean? Could these be genetic or even spiritual defects? Maybe. Could these be actual diseases? Unlikely. And it's stupid to think that God didn't apply some sort of regulation on the ark. But being realistic, how did any of these animals survive? Not to mention, what about the herbivorous animals? Well, two possibilities. The second possibility is obviously more controversial because this would imply ancient civilizations were not very primal at all. You mean to tell me that there's absolutely no possibility of ancient humans not receiving some type of help from advanced beings? And who were these beings? Could they be the fallen angels or aliens mentioned in the ancient cultures around the world? And could an almighty supreme God use this advanced technology to aid Noah and his family? Anyways, back to the ark. It's absolutely reasonable to conclude that not only there were regulations to farming and keeping the animals alive, but there was modern technology in the ark, such as LED lighting or something similar, a waste disposal system, and maybe computers. But if that was true, the Bible would mention it. Maybe not. See, there's that it's not in the mentioned Bible bullcrap. There's a lot of things that aren't mentioned in the Bible, but so what? The Bible is a summary of God, a summary of where the supernatural came from, a summary where most of the things from mythology originate from. It's a collection of books that are grouped together to collect all the puzzles in ancient history together while being unique in salvation. That's far more important than listing everything in the Bible. Referring to we don't see insert text in the rock, that doesn't really matter. All of it comes from radiometric measurements, their own picking and choosing of measurements, and assigning those measurements according to a chart that was made that they can all agree upon. What if I told you that these rock layers are nothing more than snapshots of the biomes that these organisms lived in? Does that mean they didn't live at the same time? No. It just means that they lived in different regions suitable for their needs. Just leave the radiometric dating out of it. They don't know. Overturned strata doesn't need a lot of time either. You can literally create this in a lab, only taking a few hours, days, or weeks. Are you seriously concluding that because of how massive these rock formations are, it had to have taken a long time? The alternative explanation is simply that different rocks were deposited contrary to the typical timeline held by mainstream science. Have you ever wondered as to how they know what the Earth looked like millions of years ago? They guess, not only using present-day plate tectonic movement, but also certain fossils and rock layers around the planet. The only thing that's debatable is the timeline. It's all speculation. And to be blunt, some of these renderings of what Earth may have looked like could very well just be that. Renderings. You know, there's a massive ringwoodite layer hidden in the mantle, said to have stored not an ocean, but oceans of water. Where did all this water come from? If I were to say that all the excess water from the flood was drained into the mantle over the course of nearly a year, you would think I was out of my mind. Why? Because you already explained it away. Millions of years in plate tectonics. Simple. No other reason to believe otherwise, right? I'm sure you're all familiar with these images, also known as the possible location of Noah's Ark. First discovered in 1959, another image came in 2019. Mainstream media says it's just a rock formation. Some creationists agree, others don't. I do have 3 questions. See, it's not enough to just lazily use satellite waves to probe something unusual on the Earth. In the case of this, they should be willing to dig into this and investigate what's inside. But they don't. And I say until they do more than half-ass their research, it's up to the public to decide. I wouldn't be surprised if this location was actually Noah's Ark. But again, no one has the balls to go inside and truly see what's there. The entire timeline of this discovery is also questionable as well. I guess I'll know with absolute certainty on what this structure actually is during the judgment seat.